Today we have some really exciting classic television releases on both Blu-ray and DVD, and we're starting off with one of the most exciting discs I've seen in quite some time, The Twilight Zone Season 1 on Blu-ray. Now, The Twilight Zone, of course, is not just classic television, it's the very definition of classic, groundbreaking television. There's a reason that 40, 50 years later this show is still remembered and referenced, and people constantly refer to things in pop culture as Twilight Zone freaky, or they'll hum the theme song whenever anything inexplicable happens, and there's a reason for that, because the show was brilliant, very much ahead of its time, and just a really well put together show from start to finish. Writing, acting, I mean, it's like a laundry list of famous actors who started their careers off with episodes appearing in the Twilight Zone. And this Blu-ray collection is a pretty fantastic representation of that first season. 36 episodes, they're all half-hour episodes, much longer than today's TV series. And really, it just includes some of the most classic episodes of the series. I mean, you'll be amazed when you sit down to watch this, how many of those episodes of the Twilight Zone that you think back on when you think of the show are in this first season collection. Now, that in and of itself is pretty exciting. But then you add to it the quality of the set. Picture and audio quality is amazing. More so the picture quality. The picture quality is it's fantastic. I mean, you expect that Blu-ray is going to look good, but then you also have to accept that, when a show is 40, 50 years old, it's not going to look that great. Some of these episodes almost look like they were made yesterday. Image clarity is that impressive. With no digital artifacting or anything like that, aside from some minor blemishes in the print, which are, of course, to be expected for a show this old, it's really some impeccable picture quality, and I think anybody who watches this will be really impressed. Even though it's in black and white, it's just the contrasts, the image clarity, the shadow delineation, everything is top notch. As far as the sound goes, well, it's a mono presentation. Of course, that's how the show was originally recorded, so that's a good thing in my opinion. You're getting the show as it was meant to be heard. And it sounds fine. There's really nothing really particularly bad about it or particularly good about it. There's a good balance to everything, and dialogue is fairly clear, which is really all you can ask for a mono mix, in my opinion. Where the set really shines, though, are in the Blu-ray features, the extra features that are exclusive to the Blu-ray, as well as the ones carried over from the previous DVD releases. The Twilight Zone's been released on DVD a few times before, and the previous DVD release had a ton of extra features, but the Blu-ray just completely blows it out of the water. So here's what you get. Strap in, this is quite a list. First off, starting with just the exclusive Blu-ray features, you have the unofficial pilot episode called The Time Element, which was written by Rod Serling and hosted by Desi Arnaz, interestingly. 19 episodes feature commentaries by a number of different people, authors, historians, writers and producers of the show, and even a couple of actors. None of the big names, but still, 19 episodes with commentaries, that's pretty cool. Interviews with 4 actors from the cast, a Tales of Tomorrow episode entitled What You Need, a vintage audio interview with the director of photography George T. Clemens, syndication promos for 2 episodes from 1977, 18 radio dramas, and then 34 episodes feature isolated music scores from people like Bernard Herrmann, Jerry Goldsmith, and others who worked on the show. Now, isolated music scores aren't my favorite extra feature, but they are still pretty cool to have if you're into that type of thing. On top of all that, you also get audio commentaries, previously released audio commentaries, which include people like Martin Landau and Rod Taylor, audio recollection interviews with other actors and producers and writers from the show, Rod Serling audio lectures from Sherwood Oaks College. That's a really neat little feature. Promos for next week's show featuring Rod Serling, an original unaired pilot version of a show called Where Is Everybody with Rod Serling's network pitch, and then footage of the Emmy Award wins for the show. So, I mean, really, it's just a treasure trove of extra material for people who are fans of the Twilight Zone series. So, needless to say, Twilight Zone Season 1 on Blu-ray, highly recommended. Next up, we have the Ellery Queen Mysteries, the NBC series. This is a 6 DVD box set, which is very cool. It's 22 episodes, and it's a fairly traditional kind of TV mystery show with one difference, and that is Jim Hutton. I've always liked Jim Hutton as an actor ever since I saw him in the Green Berets when I was a kid, and he shines here as the titular Ellery Queen. And he really sets the show apart from what could be just another traditional kind of mystery show in the vein of so many other mystery shows that are on TV in the 60s and 70s. Add to that a number of great guest stars: Don Amici, George Burns, Eva Gabor, Roddy McDowall, Ed McMahon, Sal Mineo, Vincent Price, Cesar Romero, a bunch of other people you'll recognize. And you get here basically 6 episodes worth of some pretty fun television. In addition, there are some bonus features. You get the series pilot. I don't know why that's considered a bonus feature because it's part of the show, so it should just be an episode. An Ellery Queen interview with the co-creator of the show, William Link, and you get a nice booklet with essays about the show and episode summaries. So if you remember the Ellery Queen Mysteries show fondly, or if you just happen to be a Jim Hutton fan, then this is certainly a worthwhile show to pick up on DVD. Next, we have Secret Agent, aka Danger Man, the complete collection. This is a humongous box set from A&E, and it's really just, it's huge. It's thick. It is gigantic. 86 episodes, over 60 hours of content. And basically it's 18 discs in this set. They're all in slim cases, so it's not a gigantic box set like taking up 4 feet of your shelf. And this series, this show from 1965 features a very young Patrick McGoohan, pre The Prisoner, in a sort of what could be described as James Bond light. He is a secret agent, and the reason it's called Secret Agent, aka Danger Man, is that it aired in the UK as Secret Agent and in America as Danger Man. So I think they're trying to make sure that everyone knows exactly which show this is. But it's kind of like a more PG-rated version of James Bond. You know, there's not as much of the violence and the sex as James Bond has, and I'm not complaining about those things. It's just a difference in between the two shows. But it is a really fun spy series. It's really just kind of a neat throwback to the 60s. And I think if you were a fan of things like, say, The Prisoner, for example, all this doesn't have the weirdness, but more of like The Man from U.N.C.L.E. or The Saint, shows like that, I think you get a charge out of Secret Agent or Danger Man. I don't remember the show, obviously, from when I was a kid, but Patrick McGoohan is a great leading man, and this set is really just a great way to immerse yourself into this entire world of the Secret Agent show. I mean, 18 discs, 60 hours of content, 86 episodes. You really can't ask for much more than that in one box set. But there is more. Not a ton in terms of extra features, but you do get a few things. You get a biography and filmography of Patrick McGoohan, the complete full-length original United States opening featuring the Secret Agent Man song, sung by Johnny Rivers, which is probably what most people remember the show for, and a photo gallery. So I'm a little surprised at the lack of extra features for such a gigantic box set, but when you're getting so much show for what is a relatively good price, it's hard to complain about a lack of extras. Finally, we have Rich Man, Poor Man, and this is the classic television miniseries from back when they used to make television miniseries. It's a gigantic 9-disc box set for a miniseries that ran some 12 or 18 hours, very long. It's 34 episodes total, actually, so it's even longer because it's book 1 and 2. They ran 2 concurrent miniseries, one in one year and one in the next year. I think it was 76 and 77, if I'm not mistaken, but don't hold me to that. And basically, it's kind of like this decades-spanning drama featuring the Jordache family, and it's really a pretty impressive stuff. A little melodramatic, yes, I will say that, and there's a lot of it. I mean, you're working your way through multiple episodes of kind of this drama that takes place in between the 40s and the 60s. So it's kind of got that. I don't want to say Dallas feel. It's not as cheesy as Dallas. It's much more dramatic than that. But, you know, it's definitely not a cheerful thing. There's not a lot of humor in it, per se. But you have a great cast. You get Edward Asner, Bill Bixby, Susan Blakely, Robert Reed, Nick Nolte, very young Nick Nolte, which is interesting to see. Peter Strauss, a number of really great recognizable faces. And, you know, I think for people who remember this series, these 2 miniseries fondly, it's really nice to finally have it on DVD. This is the very first time it's been released on DVD. In addition, there are a few bonus features. There's an audio commentary for the first episode featuring Peter Strauss and television historian David Bianculli. I apologize if I'm butchering his name. So really some great stuff here. Kind of niche audience material except for the Twilight Zone. But anybody who remembers any of these shows fondly at all could really do well to pick them up. They're fantastic sets, lots of content, well packaged, keeping them their profiles on your cases very slim, and really just a lot of really good quality television to be found.